So today we are here to learn how to go from band 5.5 to band 7 in IELTS writing. Now, I will be taking into consideration all the writing questions that you guys encounter in your IELTS examination, that is your letter writing, your report writing, and your essay writing at the same time. Now let's understand why do we get band 5.5 even if we have a really good English and even if we have a really good command on the words. Let's understand real quick. So you have a really good English, but your band score is quite low. So what exactly the problem is? So writing a lot doesn't mean that you're writing well. So you need to have really good control in order to get a band 7. So as it says, band 7 is all about control and not a vocabulary show off. What else that affects your band score? So why student gets stuck at band 5.5? So here are some of the reasons why you get band 5.5. It is because of the basic idea and weak structure. Grammar errors affect clarity, limited vocabulary repetition, and not clear position, specifically in task 2. Now, let me help you understand each of them in a really fine and precise manner. Basic idea and weak structure. So, if you guys are not new over here, or if you're not a beginner, you're starting your IELTS journey, so I'll help you out. We have a structure in every writing examination. So question. So when I say structure, I mean we've got a structure for report, right? We've got a structure for letter, and we've also got a structure for an essay. And you need to follow it. Structure is very much aligned with the parameter known as coherence and cohesion that talks about your presentation. Also, a good, clear difference between the each paragraph, it's what's going to make your essay looks more presentable. Moving ahead to the grammar. Now, if you might have noticed, I've told a lot of things about grammar in many of my sessions where I keep on repeating this one thing that not all grammatical topics are important for your IELTS examination. There are few grammatical topics on which if you have a really good command, you can score really well, which are specifically proper nouns, verbs, adjectives, prepositions, conjunctions, tenses, types of sentences, punctuation, and of course, connectors and conjunctions. These are some of the topics. Once you have the whole, or you can say holistic control on these grammatical topics, no one can stop you to achieve band 7 or band 9. Now, the third one is limited vocabulary repetition. I understand. When you guys are in pressure, you usually tend to go for words which you are very much familiar with. So I understand when you go for your examination in your examination hall, you definitely are not going to go for the word delectable than tasty. So under pressure, your mind starts to look for a comfort, and because of which you tend to use limited vocabulary and you tend to repeat the vocabulary. It's not your fault. It's just that you're not familiar with the synonyms that you need to use in your IELTS writing. I'll help you out with it. And the fourth one and the last one, no clear position. If a person is reading your answer and if he or she is not leading or going to a particular conclusion, then there's a problem with your essay or your writing. So examiner understand but is not impressed. So what to do in order to impress him? Now, here are some of the bifurcations or a clear precision on what exactly you need to work upon. Band 5.5 has a very partially developed task response. If you don't know what is what task response is, let me help you out. Task response is basically once you read the question and try to figure out what exactly you have to answer and what are the things that the question is demanding. Once you understand the task properly and you answer it accordingly, according to its demand, there you go, you achieve 100% in your task response, or task achievement is what we call. So in band 5.5, there are high chances you're not able to understand the entire part of the question, because of which your answer is partially developed. While in band 7, your answer is fully developed, which means you've understood your task properly. Moving ahead, the next one is coherence. Coherence is basically, as I told you, it deals with the structure and the connection of your writing. So in band 5.5, what happens that your coherence has a weak flow, which means once the examiner is reading your answer, the flow of your answer is not smooth as it is supposed to be, and not logical and clear as it is supposed to be. While in band 7, the answer is very much logical and has very clear instructions about what exactly you have written, and a very clear flow of logical sequence of ideas is being shown. The third one is the vocabulary, or what we call a lexical resource in our parameter. Now in band 5.5, a person tend to repeat the vocabulary rather than using synonyms, which are one of the best use of vocabulary. While in band 7, we can see that we have a very flexible approach towards the vocabulary. Now, when I say flexible, what exactly I mean? I mean, let's take an example. You have to write an essay, and there's this one word that keeps on repeating. Let's take important. So initially in the first para, you have written important, and now let's suppose you have to write it again in the same para. What are you going to write? Important? No. You can write crucial. While the third time you can write significant. Fourth, you can write key. Fifth, you can write paramount. And sixth, you can write imperative. Now, how come I know all these words? Is because I keep on practicing them with every writing task. This is what exactly you guys have to do. So what you guys are going to do is you tend to use a lot of synonym. Make sure you tend to use a lot of synonym rather than just going for a basic word and keep on repeating them. Now, the last but not the least is grammar. As I said, also, I have already told you about the basic grammatical topic that you guys will be needing for your IELTS examination. So if your grammar contains frequent errors, I mean, if your sentence contains, one sentence is going to contain at least 3 to 4 grammatical errors, then of course you are in trouble. So make more error-free sentences than making those sentences which have a lot of errors or occasional errors. Now you will say that the band 7 has occasional errors. Yes. Because you guys are dealing with a skill set, there's always a scope of improvement. Still, there's always a space where you can make mistake, because the language can never be perfect. Let's move ahead. Now let's talk about the biggest band 5 mistake that you usually do, which is not answering all parts of the question, which you should. And this will only happen once you understand what is the demand of the question is. Vague examples which are not setting with the question, and opinion having an unclear, opinions, or you can say unclear reasoning. This alone caps your band. So these are the 3 which alone are very much responsible to cap your band score. So make sure to, deal with them. Look for whether you're doing mistakes in these 3 particular pointers or not. Let's fix it. So what you're going to do in your task response strategy for band 7, take a clear opinion introduction, 1 idea, 1 paragraph. Realistic example, direct answer the question. So basically here, we are very much inclined to quality, not quantity. Examiner is not giving you marks to write as many pointers as you can, but he's giving you marks to write as clear as you can. So clarity is greater than the quantity or the number of points you will be writing. We don't need a number of ideas, we just need a clear idea. Moving ahead, we've got common grammar problems for band 5.5, that is tenses confusion. We don't know which form of verb we need to use with which subjects. The subject-verb agreement is also a topic that you need to also take in consideration, because that is also a part which I have felt, candidates through a lot of lot of issues they have. Subject-verb agreement, article misuse, a and the. Sentence fragments, the bifurcation of the sentence, segregation of the sentence with a particular conjunction is also needed. Now, the second one, which is grammar strategy, let's fix it. Use simple but accurate sentences. Try not to rush that we need to use a lot of complex and compound sentences. It's fine. Even if you're using simple sentences, make sure you make them accurate. You don't need to explain the same thing again and again. You just make sure your sentence explains the thing in just one time. And you have to put in a lot of effort in order to explain it again and again. Avoid complex grammar that you can't control. Make sure not to add specific, exaggerated tenses if you don't need them in your answer. It's better to use simple tenses. So, for example, use simple present tense, simple past tense, and simple future tense more as compared to continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous until your sentence demands. Check verbs and articles in last 2 minutes. If you know, I have been dealing with a lot of writing tasks these days, and I keep on repeating that one thing, that do not miss your revision at all. If you're going to miss your revision, of course, it's going to hamper your band score, because if you are going to see any kind of error, you will rectify it, while if the examiner gets the error, he's going to deduct your band score then and there. So always remember that correct simple grammar scores higher than the wrong complex grammar. The next one is vocabulary mistakes at band 5.5. Repeating the same words, forced high-level words, memorized phrases everywhere. Now, I hope none of you wants to transform yourself to Shashi Tharoor, because I know this is not the case. The fact is, vocabulary doesn't need to sound sophisticated. It's not the sophistication that the examiner is going to be impressed of. It's the clarity and the precision. So if I say that I really like to generate connection, even if it sounds somewhat okay, but it wouldn't be precise. So you never generate relationships, you always build relationships or establish relationships. While you generate income, you generate electricity. So a precise word is very important rather than making it sophisticated to even pronounce it properly. So always remember, vocabulary doesn't need to sound complicated. It just has to be accurate and precise. Rest, if you want to use a really good vocabulary, so let's suppose if you want to use complicated vocabulary, if you want to say that delectable, or you can say quintessential word, or some words which are not that common in our regular conversations, you are good to go with that, unless and make sure that you're using it properly and precisely at the same time. Sounds unnatural. Let's fix them. So band 7 vocabulary rule is topic-based vocabulary. Topic-specific vocabulary is the best way you can ever segregate the vocabularies properly according to your rule and usage at the same time. So look for the kind of topic you're dealing with. Is it environment? Is it sports? Is it movies? Or is it something with respect to social, environmental, political? What exactly is it? Work upon it and look for the topic specific vocabulary you know about them. I would rather recommend that at the time of your preparation, take a pen and paper, write down all the vocabularies that you need, and there you go. You actually don't need to learn a new one. Natural collocations, paraphrase, keywords only. Paraphrasing is a weapon that you guys can use. Now, paraphrasing is itself is such a powerful weapon that you don't actually need new words in order to ace even 9 bands on your IELTS examination. Only the paraphrase is going to work for it. For example, you need to write very important, no, plays a crucial role. I know crucial is not kind of word which is very uncommon. It's quite common these days. Every other person uses it. So IELTS doesn't demand a high-end vocabulary. It just demands you the correct and a little bit, of standardized vocabulary rather than going for way too basic terms. Now, coherence and cohesion problem. Overusing connectors, weak paragraph linking, no logical flow. Now, I've usually seen students, what they do is, if I ask you that you need to use connectors and they're very important, they're going to use it after every single sentence. That's not how it works. You should be able to understand that what is the use of connectors. Each and every connector presents different viewpoint. Each and every connectors presents different situation. So for example, we've got connectors for time, we've got connectors for condition, we've got connectors for relative, and we've got connectors for contradictions and addition. As you can see, each of them has different role to play. You cannot just add them after every sentence. This shows that you don't have a control, or you might not aware of how to use them properly. So make sure to study them properly and then use them wherever it is required. Now, weak paragraph linking. Make sure you focus on your starting line, your ending line, your supporting statement, your concluding statement, and your connections in between, which will eventually enhance your answer, and the signpostings if you're using 2 to 3 pointers at the same time. Essay feels jumpy. Now, how to work for the paragraph strategy. If you know, as I said, each and every question demands a really good structure. So initially, you're going to go for topic sentence, explanation, example, and link back. A clear structure is what's going to give you a higher band score. So if I ask you a question, so let's suppose if I ask you a question, just to give you an example, how do you spend your weekends? Or what kind of weekends you expect on a usual basis? Well, I wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and then I believe at 12 p.m. I have my lunch. And I forgot, I read my mails at 9 a.m. too, and then I went from my office. But at 6 p.m., I came back. I mean, this is way too chaotic to understand. Rather, if I usually frame it, I would say, well, in the mornings, I wake up early and then I get all my usual stuff done. While in the afternoon, I usually catch up for a coffee with my friends for a little bit of gossip. In the evenings, I usually go out for a dinner with my family so that I can spend some time with them. And at night, I usually binge watch Netflix. Have you seen how I bifurcated the morning, afternoon, evening, and night? This is what we call structure. Once you allocate your paragraphs accordingly, you will be at a profit. I hope this helps. Task 1, academic band 5.5 issues. No overview, listing data, no comparison. Overview is the backbone. Always remember. You need to list data properly. The numbers needs to be accurate with the unit of measurement that are there in the diagram, if any. You have to compare the diagram, of course, because the differentiation won't be visible. This limits the score from band 5 to 5.5. Clear overview. Group similar data. Compare, don't describe everything. As I said, overview is a backbone. Time management strategy. Now, this is one of the most crucial element of your entire writing exam. Task 2 takes 40 minutes. Task 1 takes 20 minutes. So what you're doing in band 5.5 is you are allocating equal time for both. Now always remember, now just don't do this mistake of attempting task 2 before and task 1 later. Never do that. Task 1 and then task 2, for a reason I'm saying. Okay, so allocate a good amount of time and an equal amount of time. So when I say equal, I mean equal with respect to the word limit. Task 1 contains less word limit, to which you are going to allocate it 20 minutes, and task 2 contains more word limits. Of course, you're going to allocate it accordingly. And of course, it's going to help you. Here is a sample question for you. Some people believe that unpaid community service should be compulsory part of high school programs. For example, working for a charity, improving the neighborhood, or teaching sports to younger children. To what extent do you agree or disagree? If you know that this is what our major question lies, and this is what we call a basic idea. Now, basic idea will help you frame your answers with respect to the rules and bounds for this particular question. Now, to what extent do you agree or disagree gives you n number of options to choose from. You can go for completely agree, which means you are going to talk about only the agreement side of this particular question. You can go for completely disagree. You can go for partially agree, where you are supposed to write your agreement and your disagreement at the same time with the conclusion. And you can go for I agree to a larger extent. Now here you have to agree for a larger extent, which means 70% of your content will be going for agree and 30% of your content will be going for disagree. While on the other hand, you can go for I disagree to it to a larger extent. Now here the vice versa will happen. These are the options that you get. My recommendation for this particular question is always go for partially agree. You are going to be at profit. Several people are of the view that volunteering should be made part of high school curriculum. This essay completely agrees with the proposition due to the positive outcome it brings to students. The essay will first examine how such initiatives not only equip students with valuable social skills, but also provide a much needed break from rigors of academic study. Now here I would want to help you. Rigors mean a thoroughness of your academic study. It means the students need break from the thorough academic studies. Engaging in community service, such as assisting in charity, events, or teaching sports to the younger ones, allows adolescents to interact with a diverse group of people, which in turn builds their social capital. This exposure helps them to build soft skills, namely teamwork, effective communication, and empathy. Moreover, working alongside an underprivileged members of the society, students learn to appreciate their own circumstances and develop a sense of appreciation. These experiences contribute to the upbringing of a generation that is both socially responsible and sensitive to society's need. Also, high school children are often overwhelmed by the tedious academic work. Tedious means tiring, which leaving less room for activities that fosters personal growth outside the classroom. Foster means flourish. By incorporating community service into school programs, students get the opportunity to put into practice some of the topics they've learned about in the class. For example, for a science student who is being taught community dentistry, which focuses on educating people on the benefits of good oral health, this gives him or her the platform to educate the public on what he or she has been taught in the class. This not only builds their self-confidence, but also gives them practical feel of the field they have chosen. In conclusion, making voluntary service as mandatory practice or a part of high school education offers tremendous merits. It develops crucial interpersonal skill and empathy while allowing students to unwind from their academic pressures. By fostering both personal and social growth, voluntary service can play a pivotal role in shaping well rounded individuals who are prepared to contribute positively to society. Coherence and cohesion gives us 6 bands, lexical resource 8 bands, grammatical range 9 bands, and task achievement 7 bands. Logical structure, introduction, and conclusion present support main points, accurate linking words, and variety of linkage words. Varied vocabulary, accurate spelling and word formation, mix of complex and simple sentences, clear and correct grammar, complete response, clear and comprehensive ideas, relevant and specific example, and appropriate word count. This is how you're supposed to write an essay, and I believe after reading the essay, I hope there's not any word that you guys are not familiar with. It's just that how you use them properly. I hope this is enough to help you in order to understand how you guys are going ahead with your band 5 to band 7 journey. That's all about it today. Make sure, let me know how do you like this video, and please let us know if you want any other video on any of the topic. Comment down below so that we can help you with it. Okay then, bye bye, take care, all the very best for your examination.